Hi everyone, in this video we'll talk about how to apply for HCPC. Before applying for HCPC, please make sure that you collect all the required documents as you can see on the screen. Here the documents need to certify. Certified means that you need to notarize the document. And the question is that how you need to notarize the document. You can see on the second slide how you have to certify the documents. So please make sure that from which person you are certifying the documents, you need to also mention the above mentioned statement. Apart from this, please also see an image in which you can find out like how the person need to mention the statement. So that's completely for your reference. Okay, so now we are going to start the HCPC registration. For that, first of all, we need to go on the portal of HCPC. It looks like that, and this is a sign up page. First, you need to make an account. For that, you need to mention your email ID. So I'm mentioning my email ID here, and after that, you need to click here on send verification code. So they will send a verification code on your email. So you need to check the verification code and you need to mention over here. As you can see, I have mentioned the verification code here. Once you mention your verification code, you need to click on verify code. As you can see that the email address is verified, so you can now continue. After that, we need to make a password. So I am making a password here. As you can see that once you make your password, so in these two columns you need to mention your password. After that, you can mention your first name and the surname. Then you have to click on create. Once you create, then it will be processed and they will ask you for the contact number and the country code. So here I'm selecting as a country code is India. And then I'm going to mention the contact number. So here I have mentioned the contact number. Once we mention the contact number, we need to click on send code. So they will send another code on the given number. So we have mentioned the code here. Now I'm clicking on verifying code. Okay, so the account is created and now we need to sign in. Okay, so now we have signed in. Once you log in like that, so for my application, you need to file a new application. Here you need to click on new application. Once you click there, so this page will open. So there you need to fill out some column. First they'll ask application type. If you're qualified outside of the UK, please select international. So since I'm not qualified in UK, so I need to choose international. After that, there is a second question which is, have you previously applied for registration with the HCPC or the Health Professions Council? So obviously I'm not registered previously, so I will choose no. Next, they'll ask, please select the profession for which you are applying. So in that I am filling for the occupation therapist, so I am choosing occupation therapist. If you are a physiotherapist, you can choose the same and you can choose the options as per your profession. So I am here choosing occupation therapist. Second, they'll ask, are you applying with the refugee or humanitarian status, or are you applying with the Swiss mutual recognition route? So here I'm choosing no. Below there are few options which we need to take yes, as they are asked. I confirm I have read the relevant guidance documents. UK application guidance, international application guidance. Second, I confirm I have read the standard of proficiency relevant to the profession I am applying for. I confirm I have read the standard of conduct, performance and ethics. Please also make sure that you read these things before ticking on yes. After filling all the details on this page, you need to click on save and continue. After filling your details in the first page, this page will be shown of MAD modality. So you need to read first of all these things, and please note if you're applying as an art therapist, practitioner, psychologist, prosthetic, orthotist or a radiographer, you need to select the modality box and add the relevant modality you wish to apply under. So if you are applying for any other profession, then you do not need to complete anything on this page. Please go straight to save and continue. So as I'm applying for occupation therapist, so I'm just clicking on save and continue. Okay, so let me tell you one thing, like this particular form I have already filled out and I have saved and drafted the details in there. So for your convenience that you can see the details, so we have already filled the form. So as you can see in this particular section 1, your details, you need to mention your details. You need to select title, your first name, surname, and there is a question like, have you had any other legal name? So I don't have any other legal name, so that's why I've chosen no. If you have any other legal name, so you can choose the yes, and in the below column of previous name you can mention your name. Then I have added my date of birth and country of birth. So in this particular section we need to provide an ID proof. So for the ID proof I have uploaded this document. As you can see on the screen, this is shown as ID proof, and for the ID proof I have uploaded my passport. So whenever you're uploading any file, as you can see this icon on the screen of add files, you need to click here and then you need to choose files. Once you choose that, then you can upload your files by clicking on add files column. So as I've already uploaded my files, so I'm just clicking on save and continue. Then in the section 1, there are some other further details also that you require regarding sex and nationality. So for sex I'm choosing female and nationality I've chosen Indian. After that I'm clicking save and continue. Similarly for the section 1, they will also ask for your address and contact details. So for the phone number I have mentioned my contact number, and the address and pin code I have just mentioned my pin code. Also they will ask like enter a postcode and click the lookup address button below. Please note this will only populate an address if you have a UK postcode. Other address should be entered manually in the field below. This means that if you're applying from the UK and you have the UK postcode, so only in that case you need to mention your address in the above address column, and you need to click on the lookup address. Since I'm applying from India, not from UK, so I've just mentioned here my my postcode. In this particular column, if you do not want to mention your postcode, so you can just mention not applicable also. That's also fine because you're not clicking on lookup address. Similarly, in the below columns, address line street 1, street 2 and street 3, city and country, in these columns you need to put your address. Once you do that, you can go below and you need to click on add files, and by clicking here you can add your address proofs. So I have already added my address proof. For address proof I have uploaded my Aadhaar card. After this is done, you need to click on save and continue. So I'm clicking on save and continue option. Then there is a section of section 2, your qualification. Since I'm just done my bachelor's in occupation therapy, so I have uploaded the details and mentioned my details here. So whenever you want to add any qualification, you need to click here on add qualification. Then there will be some details portion as shown on the screen. As I've already mentioned my details, so I'm clicking on edit button. Also, once you mention your details, you can always edit it. So I am editing my details by clicking on edit button. You can see here I have already mentioned the details like name of the qualification original language, so that is bachelor's in occupational therapy. Similarly, in English you need to mention what exactly the name of the qualification. So mine is bachelor's in occupational therapy. Secondly, they will ask name and address of education institute. So I have completed my occupational therapy from Jamia Hardat. So I have mentioned the name of the organization, and second I have mentioned the address of the same. Next need to mention start date of the program and end date of the program. So I have mentioned the same on the below two columns. Similarly, they will also ask you for the name of the course administrator. So I have mentioned the name of the course administrator, job title of the same, and the email ID. In the HCPC, they will always ask for the official email ID. Do you know the difference between the official email ID and the personal email ID? So the official email ID will always end with the domain name. As you can see here, just for the sample, we have mentioned the email ID that is ending with a domain name, that is Higher Indian. So this is a domain. So you need to make sure that whichever email ID you're mentioning for any reference, like from your qualification, your experience, that should be the official email ID. As you can see, I have filled these details in the columns, so I'm just clicking on Save and Continue option. Next, similarly for the qualification, they are asking to upload few documents. In this particular certificate page, they are asking to upload your degree certificates and course information form. Similarly, please make sure that you upload your document either in PDF, JPG or PNG file. So I have already uploaded my documents, as you can see here, and you can also upload any document by clicking on just Add Files column. Once you upload a document, you need to click on Save and Continue. So I'm clicking on Save and Continue. So this page will open after uploading your details for the qualification, and if you want to add about your master's degree as well, so you can just click on the Add Qualification, and after clicking or mentioning all your details, you can just click on Save and Continue option. Please make sure that you can always edit your details here, but that only need to be done before submitting your application. Right now I'm just clicking on Save and Continue.
Okay, so the question is what is the meaning of save and continue? So here if you're clicking on save and continue, so that means you're just saving your details here as a draft, and it doesn't mean that you are submitting your details. Submitting option will become on the end final page of the HCPC once you fill all your details, and then they will ask you to submit your details. So as you can see, after filling your details for the second section, now we have the third section, and that is for professional experience. So for your convenience, I have already filled the details of my employer here, and you can also mention as many experience as you have. For example, if you're having experience in 4 different organizations, so by clicking here on add professional experience, you can add as many experiences as you want. Since I'm having only one experience, and that is in Apollo Hospital, so I have already mentioned the details. You can always edit your details by clicking here on edit option. So I'm clicking here on edit option just to show you. As you can see that there are options to fill. First, you need to mention the name of employer and organization. Second, they will ask the position held in original language, so that is occupation therapist, and position held in English language, that is the same in occupation therapist. So I have mentioned the same. Secondly, you have to mention hours worked per week. So my hours per week is 48 hours, so I have mentioned the same. Next, they will ask for start date of placement and end date of placement. Since I'm currently working here, so I have ticked on present day. Once you fill these details, you need to again click on save and continue. After that, they will ask the contact details in this second page. So they are asking for the contact details of your employer. So I have mentioned the contact details. As you can see that I have mentioned the name and the email ID. So this email ID is just for your reference. We have mentioned one email ID here. So as you can see, the email ID is ending with the domain name. So it is really important that whichever reference you are mentioning to HCPC, the email ID should be official. And what is the difference of official email ID and the normal email ID? So the normal email IDs are ending with the Gmail or any other particular thing. But the official ID are always ended with the domain name. So please make sure that whichever email ID you're mentioning, it should be official one. Second, you need to mention the contact phone number and postcode of employer. So here again they're asking, as previously they have asked, like enter a postcode and click the lookup address button below. Please note this will only populate an address if you have a UK postcode. Other addresses should be entered manually in the below field. So basically you need to mention your address in the below field. That would be like this, or like this way you can mention your address. After filling all the details in this particular page, you can click on save and continue. Next they will ask for the particular statement. So here in this particular column you need to mention the details about your experience. Before mentioning your details, please read the details as mentioned in this above page. After mentioning your details like that, you can click on save and continue. In the document section you need to upload your experience certificate. By clicking on add files, you can upload your experience certificate or letter. After this you can just click on save and continue. So here we have mentioned the experience details. So after this you need to again click on save and continue option, then they will take you to another page.
And in the section 4 they will ask you for the professional registration and membership. So I am here mentioning the registration of IOTA. Since I'm registered for IOTA, so I have mentioned the same. I will show you by clicking on edit button here. So they're asking you, have you been a part of any regulatory or professional bodies aside from HCPC? So the answer is yes, because I'm registered in the IOTA. The name of organization I have mentioned IOTA. You can also mention the full name, and please make sure that you mention the full name. This is just for your reference. I have mentioned IOTA. So for your you always need to mention the full name of the organization here. So please make sure that you mention the full name, not the short forms. Then you can mention the registration or reference number here. Then the start date of your registration and membership. And if the membership is still valid, so you can click on, if they're asking are you still a part of this organization, so I click on yes. If you selected no, then in the below column you need to mention the end of the registration or membership dates. Again, in the other columns you need to mention the official email ID of the same registration body, and in the below column you need to mention the website of organization. As you can see, I have mentioned all the details, so I'm just clicking on save and continue. After that, I'm again clicking on save and continue column. Then they're asking the column of the English proficiency. So here they're asking, is English your first language? So I am choosing no here, and if you choose no here, so they will ask you for the English language test. So I have uploaded my IELTS result here, so I have chosen IELTS, and please give the overall score you receive on this test. So my overall score was 8, so I have put in here 8. If your overall scores are 7 or 7.5, so you can put it here, that too. By clicking on add files, I have added my IELTS scorecard certificate here, as you can see on the screen. And now I'm clicking on save and continue. After that, there is another column of declaration, which is section 6, and they're asking some details questions. So please make sure that before filling these columns you need to read all these things. So first is, have you been convicted of criminal offence or received a police caution other than a protecting caution, protection and conviction? So I have clicked on no. Similarly, you can just read all these questions which are asked there regarding yourself. So I have chosen no in each of the columns as per my own preference. If you choose yes in any of the columns, so in this particular box, as they have said that if you have answered yes to any of the above questions, please provide some of more details here. So you need to describe here, and you can also expand your description by clicking on this particular option. Also, if you have answered yes to any of the above questions, please attach information to provide more details on this. So by clicking on add files, you can add the files also if you want. So I have chosen the details and filled the column, so I'm clicking on save and continue. After that, there is another declaration. So there is another question, and that's also related to me. So I have chosen no here. You can just read the details and choose as per your convenience. Since I don't want to attach anything in this particular column, so I'm not attaching any file. So I'm just clicking on save and continue. Then there are some further information which the HCPC required. So as you can see, this is regarding disability. So you can always read the question before answering that. So as you can see that I have already chosen the column. I have already ticked on. You can just click like this, whichever option you're choosing. So as you can see that I have chosen already the columns. You can choose the details as per your convenience. After filling all these columns, I am just clicking on Save and Continue button. Okay, in this section, see declaration part. Once you click on this column, then at the below you will find out there is an option for Save and Continue again. If this option is not showing on your screen, so what you all have to do, you can go back by clicking on this column of back. You can go back one by one and you can check your application again if you filled out all the columns. Sometimes this option would not show on the screen. If you have filled any wrong information, or if you have filled out if you have not filled out any information on the given columns, because whichever columns are there which they have marked the star, so that column are mandatory and should be filled. So make sure that you filled all the details carefully, and you can always check your details before going back. So once all the details are fine and this option is showing on the page, then you need to click again on Save and Continue. So I'm clicking here.
Okay, so after you save and continue your details, so this page will be open of submit application. So once you please before submitting your application, make sure that you check all the details that you have uploaded and filled carefully. And after doing that, once you submit your application, you will not able to review that again. So once you click on the submit button at the below, so you will be taken to the payment page where you will be asked to pay the scrutiny fee to process your application. So what is the scrutiny fees? Scrutiny fee is a kind of assessment fees. Once you pay the amount, then the HCPC will start doing your verification process, and they will send emails to the references to which you have provided earlier in the application form. The email IDs which you have provided, they will send them emails for the verification purpose. And once your referees reply to HCPC, and once all the education details are checked by the HCPC along with their employment and everything, then the verification part will be completed. Then they will send you the final link for the payment, and that will be the registration payment, and that you will receive directly on the email. So regarding the scrutiny fee, once you submit that, you will receive an email confirmation within 24 hours of time. So please make sure that before submitting and before doing the payment, you will just read all the details as mentioned in this particular page. So once I click on submit application, then there will be a page to do the payment. You can check the amount, and then you need to click on the pay now. Then this payment page will be open. Here you need to do a payment from any international card through which the international payments are acceptable. So make sure that you do a payment from any particular card only. So you need to mention your card details here. Once you do that, you need to click on make payment option, and then your payment will be done. So I hope this video will be helpful for you and will guide you for your HCPC process. Thank you for watching. Apart from that, if you have any queries related to the HCPC, so you can just write down in the comment section and we will definitely reply you.